What is up, Scream Team? Zach Cherry here, and in this video we are going to rank all 19 of the Michael Myers masks across the entire Halloween franchise, in a tier list, of course. Last time I did a video like this, I got called out because I didn't include every single one of them, so this time I actually went in and made sure that I got everything, including one that nobody even mentioned, but I noticed. As is the tradition for all of these tier list rankings now, I've named each one of the levels based on a quote. So starting at the top, we have,
"What's the boogeyman?"
This is essentially the best of the best. These will be the masks that I envision when I think of the shape. One down from that is,
"See anything you like?"
These ones are pretty good. They're not perfect, but they're passable, I guess, we'll say. One down from that is,
"He always looks like that."
And these, I mean, I just thought that was a funny quote, but I guess this is kind of middle of the road. But then one below that is,
"I have the feeling that you're way off on this."
This will be kind of like the production's misconceptions of what Michael looks like. Probably the bottom of the barrel, but not totally like the worst, because that belongs to the next category, which will be,
"Wow, that's sucky."
And these are the ones that, I mean, I don't imagine that there's going to be a lot in here, because there's just a few that are completely inexcusable and should not have ever existed. So starting with the very first mask we see, which is in the 1978 original, this was a William Shatner mask, or more specifically a Captain Kirk from Star Trek mask that I think it was Tommy Lee Wallace just kind of picked up at a shop and played around with it, cut off the sideburns, teased out the hair, painted it white, and it worked. I think the alternative was an Emmett Kelly mask, and the entire crew just decided, like, when they saw this one, that that had to be the mask, because it's that perfect blank, emotionless face. Like, it has no features. It's a lack of a person. It's just the one that best exemplifies, you know, how Dr. Loomis described Michael in you know, his famous monologue. So as far as I'm concerned, it was the boogeyman. This belongs at the top. The next one, which is the one we see in 1981's Halloween 2, is actually the exact same mask. It just looks different because it's not on Nick Castle's face, who played the shape in the first one. This time it's being worn by Dick Warlock. And just because he has kind of a wider face, it just shapes differently when it sits on him. It's also a lot more worn down. It looks a little yellowed. This is mostly due to the fact that it was just sitting in storage for years, so all of the paint started to wear off. It's kind of hard to judge this against the original mask because it is the same one, but in the first movie we don't really see his eyes. And in this one, which I think is probably just because it's kind of stretched across his face, that the eyes are more visible. It makes it look, I don't want to say goofy, but I just find it to be, you know, not as intimidating, we'll say. So I'm gonna put it in See Anything You Like. Next up is the Halloween 4 mask. So this is what happened with that movie. The production, they ordered all these Dawn Post masks of like the William Shatner or the Captain Kirk design, which as far as I know is the same one that they used for the original, but there was some sort of miscommunication and they sent them 6 masks, but they had not been altered. So they were just sent as the Captain Kirk masks. So production then had to go ahead and paint them, and I don't know if it was like they just put too much on, or it was just a not the right kind of paint that you would put on a latex mask, but it gives this mask that appearance. It looks really derpy. So the eyebrows weren't painted over, which, you know, gives it has a lot more expression because of that. The hair is kind of slicked back. The eye holes, it looks like they didn't cut them wide enough, but it's a lot of the complaints, or just the biggest complaint for Halloween 4 is kind of the mask. And I think that it is a bit of a detriment. And I think that I have a feeling that they were way off on this one. The next one is the infamous pink mask from Halloween 4, which we see for like 1 or 2 seconds when Loomis and Jamie are in the schoolhouse. Even when I saw this movie as a kid, it always stood out to me because I couldn't figure out what was going on or like who this was. I remember even hearing something that, you know, was a misconception where they thought that he might have looked like that because he did get sprayed with the fire extinguisher. And I think for the longest time, I was just like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. But no, that's not the case. What had happened is from those masks that had been sent to them where they didn't paint everything, I guess it was just a late night of shooting, as how it's described in the Blu-ray features. And someone just went into the trailer and grabbed the wrong mask and brought it out, and nobody said anything, and they did the scene. I mean, they probably figured it was 2 seconds and nobody would ever notice, but haha, we did. I'm gonna say that this is unacceptable, and because of that, it's gonna go in, well, that's sucky, because Michael should never look like that. He should not have pink skin and blonde hair. The next one is the Halloween 5 mask, which, for all intents and purposes, like just based on continuity, is the same mask from Halloween 4, because he's still wearing it by the end when he falls down the mine shaft. But then he comes out of that hole with a completely new mask. And I love people's rationale that it kind of changed form because of floating down the river and water damage. But really, like, the actual reason that it looks different is because I believe that they had the other mask from 4 and it just didn't fit right on Don Shank's head, who plays the Shape in 5. So Greg Nicotero had to make a new mold from his own head. So that's Greg Nicotero's head, and that turned out to be the mask. And this one, I mean, this is the one that it's like called so many things. Like, people say it looks like Nicolas Cage. They say that it looks like Mark Zuckerberg. I probably shouldn't have to explain at this point that Halloween 5 is a guilty pleasure, and I kind of take comfort in all of the badness of that movie, and The Mask is one of those things. And while I think this is still on the same level of, you know, the Halloween 4, of just like kind of have a feeling that they were way off on this, I get a kick out of seeing this because it's so like not how he should look. And it's even like accentuated by the fact that it's not tucked under his collar, it's just sticking out, so it looks even more awkward. But I honestly don't care what anyone thinks, because I'm gonna say he always looks like that, because I still enjoy this one. It's terrible, and I can admit that, but I love it. Next one is the Curse of Michael Myers Mask, 1995. Now this one, they actually put an effort into. They went back and looked at photos of the original mask from '78 and made a new mold to try to make a mask that looked as close as they possibly could at the time. So because of that, this is a huge improvement over 4 and 5. It does have like kind of a lumpy texture to it, but I think that, you know, I've said that this is the scariest Michael Myers, in my opinion, and I think that the mask can be attributed to that quite a bit. So this one, I'm gonna say falls under See Anything You Like, but below the Halloween 2, or like the original mask, just because that is the original mask. So now this is where things get very interesting, because we come to H2O, and there are 4 masks in this movie. So the first one that we get is essentially the same one as the Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers mask. It's not the same one, they used the same mold and made a new one. And this is really only seen in, I guess, the beginning of H2O. I don't even know if it's the full beginning, but you can really mostly see this when he's attacking Marion, or she's attacking him back with the fire poker. For whatever reason, or I guess the reason was that they were trying to distance themselves from Curse of Michael Myers and the Thorn trilogy, because H2O was a new continuity, a new timeline, that they didn't want anything associated with those movies. So they decided that they needed to make a brand new mask because this would confuse audiences. This is probably the best mask that they could have used for this movie, and because of that mentality, the mask ended up looking like crap 3 times over. And because it's basically the same as the Halloween 6 mask, I'm gonna put it in See Anything You Like. I'll put it below that one just because we don't really get a good enough look at it in this movie. But, you know, it's basically on par. So now we have okay, well, if I'm telling a story, I'll do this one first. The KNB Mask. Because this is the mask that they used predominantly through most of the shooting of the film. They had already filmed, I believe it was like 75% or more of the movie before someone came in and just said, what is that thing? I guess nobody, like Steve Miner or Jamie Lee Curtis, nobody was just like, well, that doesn't look right. But it wasn't until one producer or someone, I don't know who it was, pointed it out that they realized, like, oops, I guess we got to go back and film a bunch of stuff over again. So this one has mostly been edited out of the final film. You can still see it in like quick shots or if Michael is in the distance somewhere. But if you've seen the teaser trailer for H2O, this is the mask that appears in the porthole window. And this one's been called the Alien Mask because it kind of has this like alien look to it. Mostly, like, it looks like it's porcelain, like a porcelain mask, porcelain face. I think that I would put it below the Halloween 4 one on I Have a Feeling That You're Way Off on this. Because that's probably what the person said when they came in and told them. So the next one, which is the Stan Winston mask, which they used to replace the KNB one. And this one also really sucks. I don't like it. The biggest detriment to this one for me is the fact that the eye holes are way too big. And it's not just like the eyes, it's just like the skin around the eyes. Like you can full on get an idea of a human man's face underneath this mask. And I think that a lot of the problem also has to do with the production of the movie, because of the quality of this production is not great. Like I mentioned in the last video I did when I ranked all the movies, this doesn't look like a Halloween film, and I don't think that they captured the same lighting techniques that they had in previous entries. So Michael spends a good amount of this film lit brightly when he shouldn't be. He also has really poofy hair. Kind of looks like Glenn Glenda from Seed of Chucky. I'm gonna say that this is... Okay, for now I'm gonna put him above the Halloween 4. Get over there. And I have a feeling that you're way off on this. But the next one we have is the CGI Mask, which is only in one shot in H2O, and that's when Charlie drops the corkscrew down the sink and turns around and there's that jump scare. And we full on see a computer-generated Michael Myers tilt his head. It's about like a 2-second shot, but it's in there because that was initially the KNB mask, and I guess they couldn't go back in there and reshoot it with the Stan Winston one. I don't know, like maybe they didn't have the actors, or I don't know what the deal was, but this is really bad. This might be the worst because at least the pink mask, while it's way off, it's still real. It's corporeal. You know, you can physically touch it and it looks real. So yeah, this is pretty sucky, and I think it'll remain there. Next, we have Halloween Resurrection, and this is a step up, I think, from the Stan Winston, at least in H2O. The issue here that it's very contoured. Like all of the lines in Michael's face, you know, like how you see here, they just put like so much detail into it. Like he looks like he's wearing makeup. The eyebrows, again, are like very pronounced. And his forehead, he kind of has this like jaguar. How do you say that word? It's just like the forehead kind of like has this smooth like bump on it. And it looks odd. The hair is similar to the Stan Winston one as well. It's got that like poofiness to it. But I think that this mask looks pretty good if it's lit properly, because there are some scenes in Resurrection, not a lot because so much of that movie is the crappy 360p, but you know, when they're actually using the good cameras and it's on Michael Myers and the lighting is right, he does look good, like he should. So I'm gonna say that this is he always looks like that. Oh wow. I have so much allegiance to Halloween 5. I just want to let people know that this is a subjective list, in case you didn't know. I'm gonna put this below Halloween 5 Michael. I just love this guy. Like, he's so goofy. He's terrible, but I love him. So anyway, next we have, and this is the one that I've never heard anyone bring up, but it's from Resurrection. It's the burnt version of the mask at the end of the movie. Easy to forget because this is such an unremarkable film with just a terrible ending as well. If you even remember that that's how the movie ended, with him in the Haddonfield morgue with his eyes opening up. So anyway, it's the same sort of molds, at least for the most part, and then decayed with like burnt markings all over it. So, you know, it's kind of like the Halloween Kills mask before Halloween Kills, just in a sense that he's burnt to a crisp. But it has no hair. All of the hair has been singed off. Considering the fact that this is just for one scene, it's just at the end. Like, that's not really, it doesn't make my blood boil. It's not like this was Michael walking around throughout the whole movie. But just because this is just seen once, I'm not going to put it in, well, that's sucky, because I do think it's kind of neat-ish, just for the novelty of seeing him all burnt up. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna put him above the KNB one, but below Halloween 4. Put him right there, because there's nothing like inherently wrong with this. It's just I'd rather see Michael look like some sort of visage of his usual self rather than this weird crispy fried head that it is. Anyway, Halloween Rob Zombie 2007. This is where I was called out last time, because I did not include the 1990 version, or just like all the stuff that took place in the prequel portion of the film, which is the original mask that, you know, he took from the sister's boyfriend and wore to kill Judith. And I don't know, it's fine, I guess. Tell you what, I'll put it in he always looked like that, because we don't see it a whole lot. The issue here is that, like, look at that. That mask has a lot of personality to it. And talking about both of them, really, there's a lot more personality to this mask than the original one. Like, I get that this is, at the time, this was considered a really good mask. It still is by a lot of people, and probably the closest to what the original had looked like. But this is one that, like, it always looks different depending on what angle you look at it. So that, like, some angles it looks amazing, like it looks perfect. But then you look at it like head on, or just like from below a little, and it's completely weird. I don't know what it is. So when we get to the 2007, like the current present day one, I'm gonna put it in the same category. I'm gonna put this one above. And normally I wouldn't, because like this mask obviously has more damage to it. Like it's even worse for wear, but I think that it at least fits the personality for what the Rob Zombie movies are. And it has that grungier look that it just suits the whole, like the Tyler Mane, like the big hulking Michael Myers, where this, we only really see it on like the little kid's head. And it's like a giant bobblehead. It looks a little awkward, and it's too clean. So that's my rationale. So then we come to the Halloween 2 version of this, or the tattered version of this. And I think that half of the face is missing. He's also got the hood, or like just like the addition of that. It's like Jason Voorhees wearing jackets in some of the later sequels. But the beard coming out of like the tears and underneath the mask, it's just it's too human. It's got too much emotion going on. This is an angry Michael Myers as well, so you see that rage. I mean, you can tease me with theories about the rage if you're Dr. Loomis, but I don't want to see the rage. I don't want to see like pissed off Michael Myers with his gross unkempt beard peeking out underneath. I'm gonna put this in, well, that's sucky. I'm actually gonna put this below the pink mask, because I think I would rather see pink mask, white-haired Michael walking around than I would see any sort of version of his face showing like that. But still better than the CGI mask, because that is just, that is unspeakable. So now we're coming to the Blumhouse timeline, the David Gordon Green timeline. And we've got the 2018 mask. And this is an incredible feat of costume design, because this is really like they went back and got every precise detail about the original mask of the first movie, and the damage, like the hole from the knitting needle in the neck and the scratch from the coat hanger. This one just, it looks amazing. And I was having difficulty like the last time I did a list like this on like what's better, the original or this one. And I have a lot more clarity now. I think that this is below the original. And even though this is really good, this is basically perfect. This is going to go in the, you know, the top tier category, but just because it's weathered and aged, it takes away from that blankness, like just like the stark white blankness. Like it gives it a little bit more texture and personality. But if it came down to it, I would choose the original over the new one. So then it probably shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that with the flashback mask in Halloween Kills, I'm gonna put this above the 2018 version, because for all of its faults, Halloween Kills, and there's a lot of them, that entire 1978 sequence is flawless. The house, Dr. Loomis, all of that is part of it, but the mask as well, because it was so cool to see that mask again. It was almost just like, that's Michael Myers. That's the one that we know. But that will bring us to the Kills mask. I think this one's good. Like I have no major complaints about it. I like, at least as compared to the Resurrection Burnt one, he still somewhat resembles Michael Myers enough. I mean, granted, he probably didn't sustain as much fire damage, but I kind of do appreciate how this mask like has that look to it. Like Michael is vicious in this movie comparatively to the Resurrection Burnt one. Like this is so much better because it still resembles Michael. You know, he still has his features and everything. And I do like how, you know, like you've got the cheek wound and the blood coming out, and just like the side of his head just like completely charred. I just think that at this point, and this is not a complaint because I do love kind of like the progression of damage and wear and tear to the mask across this timeline, but just the fact that, you know, we're taking away more of the blank mask with every new little detail that's put into it, every battle damage that he sustains. So I'm gonna say, okay, people are gonna be upset, but whatever. I'm gonna put it here. And this is not bad. These are good masks. These are good masks. This is just so far removed from like the usual look of Michael. I like it. I'm seeing things I like, but you know, I'd still rather see Michael kind of just resemble more of that classic look. And this is more like Uber Michael. I respect the continuity a lot, actually. I'm huge on continuity, but I'm gonna put it there. I'll put it above the Rob Zombie one just because I have no allegiance to those movies whatsoever. And then similarly with the one in Halloween Ends 2022, which, I mean, this one's like just moldy at this point. That's the thing with it. There's even less to it. I'd say that this is on par with the Rob Zombie one, just because it is kind of grungy looking. But I still like it better just because it is the same mask from at least that continuity of the timeline of the original to the Blumhouse. So yeah, that is going to be my Michael Myers mask ranking. I want to thank a few of my Patreon supporters like Nick, HorrorSlut95, Traj125, and Mike Shug. If you want to see even more Halloween and Michael Myers related content, you can check out either one of these playlists right over here. Until next time, I've been Zach Cherry, and I'll be right back.